Well, good afternoon. My name is Richard, and this is Francis, and we're known as the TARSALTAPPERS. The TARSALTAPPERS. Now, everybody tap your foot like you're tapping the music, and people call this music toe-tapping music. Not correct. Think about it as you're tapping your foot. You're actually tapping that part of your foot. I think people call it the ball of their foot, right? That's called the metatarsal on your foot. So you're actually tapping your metatarsals. That's why we call ourselves the TARSALTAPPERS. We're the only anatomically correctly named band that we know of. We play old-time music. Now, old-time music is essentially dance music. And old-time dance music is fiddle-driven music. Back in the day, mid to late 1800s, early 1900s, this predates bluegrass. We do not play bluegrass. We play old-time. So the old-time music that we play, dance music, polkas, jigs, reels, schottish, waltzes, ragtime. So what we're going to do today is provide you folks with a little bit of tour around the country, playing music from different locations and trying to play a few different types of old-time, just to give you a kind of a feel for what old-time music is to be. Probably not that familiar to most of you, but maybe to your parents and certainly to your grandparents. So we're going to start out with one tune that was probably written down for the first time in about 1830, as far as our research can show. So this is like a granddaddy tune for old-time music, and it's called Natchez Under the Hill. Ready? About the titles of these songs too. Natchez Under the Hill. Well, Natchez is on top of the hill. Think about all the flooding that's going on back there right now with the Mississippi and whatnot. So what's Natchez Under the Hill? Well, that's where the riverboats would tie up. So what was down there where all the wharves were? You had the warehouses and you had the red light district. So what was going on with Natchez Under the Hill when they wrote that song, Francis? What do you think? Yeah, well, we'd like to thank Donna, our favorite banker, for inviting us over here today. Really appreciate that. But you know, when you introduced, you told us earlier about President Devon, right? Mm-hmm. I was not quite too clear on what kind of a business, Edward Jones, what kind of a business he was really in.
He makes money.
Because, no, I thought he was in religious garments. He sold religious garments, yeah. Because Donna told us that you were in investments.
Oh.
Okay, so this couple has been dancing all night long, right? And they all of a sudden realize that it's 3 o'clock in the morning. So they want to have one more waltz, 3 o'clock in the morning. So now we're going from Mississippi. I think this one came out of Texas. And so about 1930. So we're jumping 100 years. 3 o'clock in the morning. 1, 2, 3, 4. of tells us that most of you are in some kind of business of some sort, and so you'd probably be interested to know what kind of business plan a small band, they call this either old-time band or string band. So what kind of business plan does a string band follow? Well, the standard for old-time string bands is known as the fives, or some people call it the factor of five or the five factor. And how that works out is you buy $5,000 worth of equipment, you travel 500 miles to make a $50 gig. Okay, so that's called the factor of fives. So here we go with the East Tennessee Blues. And so now we're going from Mississippi to Texas and back down to East Tennessee Blues, one of our favorite tunes. Because I can slide around on that tune a little bit, but as they say about fiddlers, we don't fret. Francis, did I tell you that that good-looking neighbor came next? Oh, really good-looking gal from next door came over to ask me if I had a stepladder that she could borrow. Yeah, she comes over and she asked me kind of if I had a stepladder that she could borrow, and I said, well, I sure did, but I really never did know my real ladder. We're going to Arizona now. When the conquistadors came across into what's now the United States, they brought the Padres with them and other folks that had musical instruments, and they taught the natives how to play. And the whole idea was that they wanted music to go with their religious ceremonies and the other rites that they had. And of course, then the natives went ahead and took this music that they were learning and said, hey, this is cool. We can use this for our own purposes. So there's a tribe down in, I don't know if I can pronounce the name properly, southeast Arizona. Tohono O'odham, I think is probably as best as I can do. And they have a group down there, they used to have a group called the Gouache Fiddlers, and they wrote quite a few songs. And this is a polka that they wrote, which is a lot of fun to play. One of the reasons it's a lot of fun to play is because it's what we call, anybody here in law enforcement? You know, anyhow, this is what they call a crooked tune. It has nothing to do with being a felon or anything, but what it means is that it changed, something's different about this tune, and in this case it changes time. So any musicians, you know, everything written in 4/4 time, or two, like a waltz is written in 3/4 time. Well, this one's written in 4/4 time, but there are various measures scattered throughout that are in 5/4 time. Now take that and play it at a jam session where other people don't know, and especially a bass player that's trying to keep time, and it's wonderful to watch them get messed up. So here we go with Memories in Ajo. Anybody speak Spanish? Ajo means garlic, right? But we're not talking about garlic. Memories in Ajo is talking about the town. That's the name of the town, Ajo, Southeast Arizona. Okay, here we go. See if you can pick out the 5/4 parts of the song. 1, 2, 1. Thank you, folks. That cute gal that came over from next door that wanted to borrow the stepladder, I didn't know it, but she's a retired nuclear physicist.
No way.
Any nuclear physicists in here? And guess where she worked?
Where?
Guess.
Los Alamos?
Los Alamos.
Okay.
Can you believe it? Right here in Raton.
Wow.
Yeah, nuclear physicist. But you know what she told me? A very interesting thing. She says, you can't trust atoms.
Why not?
Well, you can't trust atoms because they make up everything. Okay, let's go to.
Where's Larry when we need him?
Let's go to Louisiana.
Okay.
Gotta play Acadian too. You know, when the Acadians, they had to get out of France because there was too much fighting going on. They didn't like the fighting. So they came over to New Brunswick, Nova Scotia. And then, of course, we had the French and Indian War. And they said, well, we don't like this fighting either, so they migrated down to Louisiana. And so the Acadians became Arcasian, and they have their whole genre of music down there. And this particular song is known as Jolie Blonde, means pretty blonde. And it's kind of being spoke of by many people as their unofficial national anthem. So here we go with Jolie Blonde. Oh, by the way, you know, I haven't heard any screaming or yelling or anything going on. So look, when we do a cowboy song, you know, we go to Texas or southern New Mexico to do a deal, we have to do a lot of cowboy songs. And what do you get when people are in the audience? You go, yeehaw, right? All right. So when you do a Cajun song, it's just the opposite. Ready? Ah-yee. All right, give me some ah-yees. Ah-yee. Okay, I expect some ah-yees. Okay, here we go. Cajun, here we go. How does that one start? I don't hear it. right?